The holographic star maps hover in the air, bathing Alina's face in their eerie blue glow. Her team stands frozen, eyes wide with disbelief as the ancient technology functions, as though it had been activated yesterday, not buried for millennia. Dr. Reyes, we should contact Earth immediately, her assistant, Kai, whispers, his voice echoing in the cavernous chamber. Alina shakes her head, transfixed by the symbols pulsing along the walls. Not yet. We need to understand what we're looking at first. She pulls out her specialized scanner, documenting the symbols that spiral across the metallic surface. The patterns match those found in underwater caves in Indonesia, beneath Egyptian tombs, and carved into remote Siberian cliffs, all dated to roughly 50,000 years ago. Scientists had dismissed them as coincidental similarities in early human development. Now, finding identical markings on Mars obliterates that theory entirely. The dating analysis is complete, announces Dr. Fatima Nazari, stepping carefully around the activated pedestal. These chambers are approximately 52,000 years old, consistent with the Earth findings. Alina nods, her scientific mind racing to process the implications. Humans weren't even building permanent settlements 52,000 years ago. We were nomadic hunter-gatherers. There's no way we created these. The chamber trembles slightly as another section of wall slides open, revealing a corridor extending deeper into the Martian bedrock. Cool air rushes from the opening, carrying a faint, unfamiliar scent. Should we proceed? Kai asks, checking his oxygen levels nervously. We didn't come to Mars to stop at the first door, Alina replies, activating the lights on her helmet. The beam illuminates dust particles dancing in the undisturbed air. The team advances cautiously down the corridor, their boots leaving the first footprints in what might be the most significant archaeological site in human history. The walls narrow, then expand into a second chamber twice the size of the first. My God, breathes Dr. James Wong, the team's linguist. It's some kind of library. The circular room contains dozens of crystalline structures arranged in concentric rings. As Alina approaches the central platform, the crystals illuminate from within, projecting three-dimensional images into the space between them. Figures move in the projections, humanoid but clearly not human, with elongated limbs and features too perfectly symmetrical to be natural. They're showing us something, James says, frantically recording the sequence with his equipment. These look like historical records. Alina steps onto the central platform, and the projections shift. The alien figures disappear, replaced by unmistakably human forms. The images show early humans, but they're interacting with technology, seated in what appear to be vessels rising from Earth toward the stars. This contradicts everything we thought we knew, Fatima whispers. These records suggest humans were spacefaring before the last ice age. The final projection shows a map of Earth with dozens of locations marked by pulsing lights. Alina recognizes them immediately. They correspond precisely to the sites where the mysterious symbols have been discovered. They weren't random, she realizes. They were a network, a message left for us to find. As she steps off the platform, her movement triggers another mechanism. A cylindrical object rises from the center, emitting a high-pitched sound that makes the team cover their ears. The noise builds to a crescendo before suddenly stopping, leaving behind a profound silence. Then, from somewhere far above them, comes a response. A similar tone, but deeper, stronger. What did we just activate? Kai asks, fear evident in his voice. Alina looks up toward the Martian surface, a chill running down her spine. I think we just told someone we're here. The emergency session of the United Nations Security Council erupts into chaos as the Verax ambassador's hologram fades. President Santos pounds her fist on the podium, calling for order among the panicked representatives. We have 27 days, she announces, her voice cutting through the din. 27 days to find a way to survive. Alina watches the broadcast from the hastily established quarantine facility, where her team has been isolated since their return from Mars. The government claims it's for decontamination, but she knows better. They're being contained because they know too much. They're afraid we triggered this, she tells Marcus Chen, the quantum physicist who'd been called in to analyze the energy signatures from the Martian beacon. Through the glass partition separating them, she can see the dark circles under his eyes. Didn't we? He asks, sliding his tablet against the glass to show her the correlation. The Verax vessel appeared exactly 93 days after the beacon activated. That's not coincidence, Elena. Outside their isolation room, military personnel rush through corridors. Screens display global panic, riots in major cities, religious gatherings proclaiming the end times, scientists working frantically to understand the Verax technology that seems centuries beyond human capability. They're lying about being our creators, Elena insists, tapping the translated symbols from the Martian ruins. These records suggest a completely different relationship. A commotion at the end of the hallway draws their attention. Admiral Wallace, head of the newly formed Planetary Defense Initiative, strides toward their room, flanked by armed guards. Dr. Rice, Dr. Chen, he acknowledges, voice tight with stress. We're relocating you to a secure facility. The Verax have specifically requested access to the individuals who activated the Martian beacon. Elena's blood runs cold. They asked for us by name. Not exactly, Wallace replies. They provided genetic identifiers. Somehow, they scanned our entire population from orbit and isolated those with specific genetic markers. You two ranked highest on their list. As they're escorted to the waiting transport, Elena glimpses a news broadcast showing massive Verax scout ships hovering over major cities. The ships emit beams of pale light, scanning the populations below. They're looking for something, Marcus whispers, or someone. The military convoy races through deserted streets. Through the tinted windows, Elena watches people fortifying homes, stocking supplies, embracing loved ones, humanity preparing for the end, not knowing it has faced this threat before. At a remote mountain facility, they're led deep underground to a command center humming with activity. Scientists and military personnel cluster around monitors displaying the Verax ship's movements. Admiral Wallace gestures toward the main screen. We've intercepted communications between their vessels. Our linguists have translated some of it. The screen displays translated text fragments. Asterisk. Genetic sequencing confirmed. Asterisk. Asterisk. Dormancy period ended prematurely. Asterisk. Asterisk. Protocol 7 authorized for complete reset. Asterisk. What's Protocol 7? Elena asks, dread pooling in her stomach. Wallace's expression darkens. We believe it's their procedure for planetary cleansing. A young analyst rushes forward, tablet in hand. Sir, we've decoded more of their transmission. They're discussing something called the Remembrance with significant concern. Elena and Marcus exchange glances as a tremor runs through the facility. Alarms blare. They're scanning us. A technician shouts as instruments spike off the charts. Through the mountain's reinforced viewports, a pinpoint of light appears in the sky, rapidly expanding. A Verax vessel, smaller than the mothership but still massive, descends directly toward their location. Wallace barks orders to evacuate as the mountain itself seems to groan under some invisible pressure. Elena grabs Marcus's arm, an impossible realization dawning. They're not here to study us or negotiate, she says, watching the ships approach with terrible clarity. They're here to finish what they started 50,000 years ago. The facility's lights flicker as darkness closes in, and for a moment, Elena feels something stir within her mind. A memory that isn't hers, a knowledge she shouldn't possess, awakening from the depths of her DNA. The translation can't be right. Elena whispers, staring at the holographic display Marcus has rigged from salvaged Martian tech. They've been working in the abandoned mine shaft for 3 days, since escaping the facility before the Verax attack. Marcus adjusts the quantum interface, his fingers trembling with exhaustion. I've run it through 17 different algorithmic variations. The meaning remains consistent. The text hovers before them, translated from the data core Elena managed to download before their evacuation. Ancient symbols transform into modern language, revealing humanity's forgotten history. Asterisk. The Third Fleet of the Human Concordance made final stand at Proxima Centauri. Supreme Commander Rice ordered implementation of Contingency Omega, full genetic regression with embedded mnemonic triggers. Asterisk. Elena's heart skips at the name Rice. It could be coincidence, she murmurs, unconvinced by her own words. There are no coincidences here, Marcus responds, scrolling through the data. Look at this genetic sequence. It appears repeatedly throughout the archive. The display shows a complex DNA strand with specific sections highlighted. Marcus pulls up another screen showing Elena's genetic profile from her Mars mission medical records. He overlays the two images. A 97% match, he says quietly. Whatever they did to our ancestors, they ensured certain genetic markers would persist through generations. You're carrying the genetic memory of someone who was there during the final conflict. Elena presses her palms against her eyes, fighting a headache that's grown increasingly intense since they began decoding the archives. Behind her closed eyelids, she sees flashes of unfamiliar star systems, hears voices speaking in languages she shouldn't understand. The Verax records claim they created us, she says, focusing on the facts to quiet the strange visions. These archives suggest the opposite, that humans were an advanced spacefaring civilization, and the Verax were subordinate species. Marcus finishes, highlighting another section of text. According to this, the Verax were genetically engineered by humans as an adaptive workforce for extreme environments. They rebelled when denied access to certain technologies. A distant explosion rocks their hideout, dust raining from the ceiling. The Verax have been systematically searching this region since tracking their escape. There's more, Marcus says urgently, sensing their time running short. The Verax didn't just defeat our ancestors, they fundamentally altered them. They weaponized a retrovirus that targeted specific cognitive genes, essentially devolving humans to a pre-technological state. Elena's mouth goes dry as implications cascade through her mind. They erased our history and planted false evolutionary evidence. But why not just eliminate humans entirely? Marcus points to another section of the archive, this one containing what appears to be psychological profiles. Hubris. The Verax wanted to keep us as living trophies, primitive descendants of their former masters, forever ignorant of what we once were. But our ancestors left a backup plan. Elena says, the headache intensifying as more fragments of memory surface. The remembrance protocol the Verax transmissions mentioned. It's not their protocol, it's ours. The ground shakes more violently as another explosion hits closer. Marcus hurriedly copies the data to portable quantum drives as Elena studies the final section of the archives, detailed schematics for technology far beyond current human capabilities. These look like activation sequences, she says, tracing patterns that feel strangely familiar. Coordinates embedded in our DNA, waiting for the right trigger. As the wall behind them crumbles under Verax weaponry, Elena clutches the drive containing humanity's true history. For the first time since the alien arrival, a glimmer of hope flickers within her. The Verax aren't returning to check on their creation. They are coming to ensure their ancient enemy remains subdued. But they're too late. The remembrance has already begun. Elena wakes with a gasp, her mind reeling from dreams so vivid they leave impressions like memories. For a moment, she doesn't recognize the underground bunker where resistance leaders have gathered. 20 days since the Verax ultimatum, and the world has transformed. Another one. Marcus asks, looking up from his workstation, where he's been mapping the spread of what they now call the awakening. Elena nods, grabbing a tablet to sketch what she saw before it fades, the schematic for a quantum shielding system that could defend against Verax energy weapons. Her hand moves with uncanny precision, drawing connections her conscious mind doesn't yet understand. It's accelerating, she says, voice hoarse, Last night I dreamed of star charts. Now it's defensive systems. Around them, the bunker buzzes with similar activity. A former history teacher writes complex equations for gravity manipulation. A teenage gamer assembles components for a neural interface she couldn't have understood 3 days ago. They were among the first to respond to Alina and Marcus's emergency broadcast. People experiencing unexplainable knowledge, drawn together by the awakening memories. Dr. Amara Okafor, previously a linguistics professor, approaches with her latest analysis. The memory cascade follows a specific pattern, she explains, displaying brain scan comparisons. It's like our neural pathways are being remapped to access information stored in junk DNA, sections we thought were non-coding genetic material. Our ancestors hid their knowledge inside us, Marcus realizes, encoded in our very cells, waiting for the right trigger. General Rivera, their reluctant military ally, interrupts with urgent news. The Verax have changed tactics. They're abducting humans, specifically targeting individuals showing signs of the awakening. On the main screen, satellite imagery shows Verax harvester ships deploying over population centers. Unlike their larger vessels, these nimble craft dart between buildings, capturing specific individuals with precision extraction beams. They're trying to stop the cascade before it reaches critical mass, Alina says, the knowledge surfacing from somewhere deep within her consciousness. Their bioweapon wasn't perfect. They knew a triggered reversion was possible, but thought they'd have warning signs before it progressed this far. An alarm blares through the bunker. Their perimeter sensors have detected movement. Verax scout ships, Rivera confirms grimly. They've triangulated our broadcast location. Marcus rushes to secure their research data, while Alina stares at her completed schematic, a certainty forming. We can't run anymore, she says with sudden clarity. The remembrance protocol isn't just about remembering, it's about positioning. We need to be in specific locations when the full awakening occurs. She brings up a global map where dozens of points pulse with light, each marking a place where unusual electromagnetic readings have been detected since the Verax arrival. These aren't random, she explains as knowledge flows through her like a dam breaking. They're activation nodes, places where our ancestors left technology in dormant states, keyed to activate only when enough genetically compatible humans with awakened memories gather. Rivera studies the map skeptically. The closest node is under the Arctic ice cap. Even if you're right, we'd never reach it with Verax patrols everywhere. Alina's eyes gleam with determination and something else, a spark of the person she was 50 millennia ago. We don't need to evade them, she says, pointing to her completed schematic. We need to build this first. It's not just a shield. It's a cloak against their specific scanning technology. As the bunker mobilizes for evacuation, Alina feels another surge of knowledge unfolding within her mind. This time, it comes with a name and a voice that feels like her own, yet different. Commander Alina Reyes of the Third Fleet, final defender of the human concordance *. I remember, she whispers, the weight of 50,000 years of dormant history pressing against her consciousness. I remember who we were. The ice beneath their specialized transport vehicle groans and shifts as Alina guides it across Europa's frozen surface. 17 days of space travel in a hastily retrofitted shuttle, built with technology that shouldn't exist yet somehow came together under her newly awakened guidance, has brought their small team to Jupiter's moon. The entrance should be just ahead, Alina says, following coordinates that pulse in her mind like a familiar heartbeat. The memories continue to unfold, sometimes gently, sometimes in overwhelming floods that leave her gasping. Marcus monitors the scanners he designed during their journey, equipment cobbled together from Earth technology, but functioning on principles centuries beyond current science. Verax patrols are still focused on the Mars outpost. We have perhaps 2 hours before they detect our presence here. Behind them, Dr. Okafor and Lieutenant Kwan check their equipment. The 4 of them were all that made it off Earth after the Verax attacked their bunker. The others had scattered, carrying the awakened knowledge to different corners of the planet. There, Elena points to a seemingly random patch of ice indistinguishable from the endless frozen landscape, the primary access point. As they approach, the ice begins to ripple and part, revealing a metallic surface beneath. The ground trembles as ancient machinery activates, responding to Elena's proximity. A circular opening forms, spiraling downward into darkness. "How did you know exactly where to find this?" Quan asks, still not fully trusting the memories that occasionally surface in his own mind. Flashes of combat training he never received, weapons knowledge he shouldn't possess. "I helped build it," Elena answers simply, the dual consciousness within her merging more completely with each passing day. Or rather, she did, the part of me that commanded the Third Fleet. They descend into the opening, lights automatically illuminating their path as they move deeper beneath Europa's surface. The temperature rises noticeably as they enter a vast chamber that defies everything humanity believes about its technological history. "Dear God," Okafor breathes, staring at the sprawling base extending before them. Suspended in a massive cavern hollowed from Europa's ice, the facility houses sleek vessels, weapons platforms, and technology beyond their comprehension. "The last refuge," Elena explains, memories crystallizing into knowledge. "When the Verax bioweapon began affecting our ancestors, they knew they couldn't save their civilization. So they preserved what mattered most, the knowledge and tools we would need when the Verax eventually returned." As they step further into the facility, systems activate around them. Holographic interfaces spring to life, recognizing their genetic signatures. Marcus approaches a central console that responds to his touch, displaying a status report in a language he somehow understands. "The base has been maintaining itself for 50 millennia, he says with wonder. "Powered by quantum vacuum extraction, technology we've only theorized about." "The fleet?" Elena asks, her attention drawn to the hangar visible through transparent barriers. Marcus scrolls through the information. 7 vessels fully operational, designated for reclamation protocol, those that mean anything to you. Elena nods, another memory surfacing. Phase 2 of the remembrance. First, we remember who we were. Then, we reclaim what was taken. A proximity alert sounds, gentle but insistent. Okafor checks the perimeter sensors. Energy signature approaching from Mars trajectory. Verax scout vessel. Instead of fear, Elena feels a strange calm settle over her. She approaches the command center, hands moving confidently across controls she's never seen before yet knows intimately. "Begin awakening sequences for all systems," she orders, her voice carrying the authority of both her present self and her ancestral commander. "Prepare the Genesis for launch." The facility hums with increasing energy as dormant systems fully activate. Through the transparent barrier, they watch as lights illuminate along the sleek hull of the largest vessel, revealing its name in ancient human script. *Genesis*. "It's time," Elena says, watching the ship come to life. "Time for humanity to rise from the ashes of what we once were." Evasive pattern Epsilon. Elena commands as the Genesis weaves through the Verax formation with impossible agility. The neural interface connects her directly to the ship's systems, translating thought into action faster than verbal orders ever could. Behind her on the command deck, Marcus monitors the quantum communication network they've established with Earth's hastily assembled defense forces. "Shanghai's shields are holding," he reports. London reports 62% capacity after 3 direct hits. On the tactical display, Elena watches as Verax dreadnoughts position for another bombardment of Earth's major cities. Their attack had come without warning, 3 days before their announced deadline, catching humanity mid-preparation. "They detected our launch from Europa," Lieutenant Quan says from the weapons station. "They're accelerating their timeline." Elena guides the Genesis through another series of maneuvers that no human pilot could execute, the ship's semi-organic hull flexing to absorb gravitational stresses. The 6 smaller vessels from the Europa base follow in precise formation, each piloted by crew members experiencing the same awakened memories as Elena. The Verax flagship is altering course, Dr. Okafor announces, her linguistic expertise now enhanced by awakened knowledge of Verax tactical communications. They're converging on Washington. Energy readings suggest they're preparing a concentrated strike. Alina accesses the tactical database flowing through her neural link, ancestral knowledge providing insight into Verax battle strategies. They're targeting our leadership, she realizes. Standard domination protocol. Eliminate command structure first. Washington's shields won't handle that level of firepower, Marcus warns. Alina makes her decision instantly. All vessels, converge on my position. Prepare to deploy the resonance cascade. The Genesis accelerates toward Earth, its quantum drive warping space in ways that modern physics can't explain. As they approach the Verax formation surrounding Washington, Alina activates the ship's primary weapon system, not designed for destruction, but disruption. Cascade deploying in 3, 2, 1. A wave of energy pulses outward from the Genesis, invisible to the human eye, but devastating to Verax technology. Their ships shudder as systems fail, weapons power down, and propulsion falters. Direct hit, Quan confirms, studying the readings. Their neural networks are temporarily severed from their central command structure. On the global communications channel, cheers erupt from defense stations worldwide as they witness the Verax fleet's momentary vulnerability. Earth's defenders launch counterattacks using weapons hastily constructed from awakened knowledge. Quantum disruptors, gravitational inverters, technologies that shouldn't exist yet function with devastating effectiveness. 3 Verax dreadnoughts list helplessly in orbit, their systems compromised. The others begin a strategic withdrawal, retreating to a defensive position behind Earth's moon. They didn't expect this level of resistance, Marcus says, relief evident in his voice. We've bought ourselves time. But Alina's expression remains grim as she accesses deeper tactical analysis through her neural link. This was just their vanguard, she says. The main fleet remains at the edge of the solar system. They're adapting their approach. On the communication channel, General Rivera's voice breaks through. Dr. Rice, we're receiving a transmission. The Verax Supreme Commander is requesting direct communication with you, specifically you. A chill runs through Alina as another memory surfaces, the final confrontation between Commander Rice and the Verax leadership 50 millennia ago. History preparing to repeat itself. Put it through, she orders, straightening in her command chair as the holographic interface flickers to life. The face that appears is both alien and eerily familiar. Opalescent skin stretched over angular features, mercury eyes that seem to flow rather than blink. The Supreme Commander of the Verax studies Alina with ancient hatred. Impossible, the alien voice hisses in perfect English. The genetic suppression was absolute. Alina feels herself responding not just with her own voice, but with the calm authority of her ancestor. You should have killed us when you had the chance, she says. Instead, you made your greatest mistake. You let us remember. The central chamber of the Europa base glows with holographic displays as Alina steps through humanity's complete history. Marcus, Okafor, and representatives from Earth's Unified Defense Council watch in stunned silence as 50,000 years of forgotten legacy unfolds before them. The Galactic Concordance, Alina explains, gesturing to the vast stellar map showing hundreds of inhabited systems. 17 spacefaring species united under principles of mutual advancement and protection. Humans weren't just members. We were the founders. The holographic display shifts to show elegant ships with designs similar to the Genesis, patrolling distant star systems. Humans working alongside alien species of remarkable diversity. We were peacekeepers, Marcus says softly, ancestral memories confirming what the archives reveal. Not conquerors. Alina nods, navigating deeper into the memory core's records. Our technological advancement outpaced our spiritual wisdom once before. Our ancestors nearly destroyed themselves in wars using weapons that damaged the fabric of space-time itself. The display shows devastated worlds, tears in reality that leaked destructive energy into normal space. When they finally achieved peace, they vowed never again to create weapons of mass destruction without proper safeguards. The Concordance was founded on this principle: technological advancement guided by ethical constraints. Admiral Rivera, still adapting to the flood of revelations, studies the tactical displays, and the Verax objected to these constraints. They were different then. Okafor interjects, her linguistic expertise piecing together cultural cues from the archives. The records indicate they were philosophers, engineers, respected members of the Concordance for millennia. The display shifts to show Verax representatives in Concordance councils. Their appearance is subtly different from the warriors now attacking Earth, less angular, eyes warmer. Something changed them. Elena continues, accessing the final records. Approximately 53,000 years ago, a Verax exploration team discovered ruins of a civilization that had destroyed itself with weapons of unimaginable power. The holographic images show Verax scientists extracting data and technology from a dead world orbiting a dying star. The Verax leadership became obsessed with this technology, convinced that with it they could protect themselves from any threat. When the Concordance Council refused to allow its development, citing the first principle of non-destructive advancement, they rebelled. Marcus finishes, his own genetic memories surfacing with increasing clarity. Elena navigates to the final records, the war that followed. The display shows desperate battles across multiple star systems as the Verax, armed with forbidden technology, attacked Concordance worlds. Humanity led the defense. Elena explains, her voice tight with emotion as Commander Rey's memories flow through her consciousness. Our fleets were the front line against Verax aggression. When conventional tactics failed, the Verax deployed their most devastating weapon, not against our ships or worlds, but against us. The display shows the bioweapons design, a virus engineered to target specific genes unique to humans, genes responsible for higher cognitive functions, technological comprehension, and collective memory storage. They didn't want to destroy humanity, Rivera realizes, horror dawning on his face. They wanted to erase what made us human. The ultimate revenge, Okafor whispers, to reduce their former protectors to primitive beings, forever unaware of what they once were. Elena accesses the final entry, a recording of Commander Elena Reyes, her genetic ancestor, standing on the bridge of a vessel remarkably similar to the Genesis. Behind her, displays show the spreading genetic plague already affecting human colonies. We cannot stop what they have unleashed, the commander says, her face eerily similar to Elena's own. But we can ensure it is not permanent. The Remembrance Protocol is our final hope, a way to hide our true selves within our altered DNA, waiting for the day our children's children will need this knowledge. The recording continues as Commander Reyes outlines the genetic modifications made to surviving humans, changes that would allow their descendants to eventually reclaim their heritage when the time came. They knew the Verax would return eventually, Elena says, closing the archive. They prepared us for this moment across 50,000 years of enforced amnesia. Marcus studies the final tactical assessments from the ancient war. But why did the Verax change so dramatically? The records show they were once peaceful. Elena navigates to one last entry, revealing the terrible truth that even the ancient humans hadn't fully understood until too late. The Verax did to themselves what they did to us. They modified their own genetics, eliminating traits they considered weaknesses: empathy, compassion, doubt. They created a species of perfect warriors by destroying what made them people. The realization settles over the chamber like a shroud. They aren't just fighting to save humanity. They are facing an enemy that had first destroyed itself from within. The night sky over Earth blazes with energy discharges as the full Verax armada engages humanity's reborn fleet. From the command deck of the Genesis, Elena watches tactical displays monitoring battles across the solar system, Mars orbit, the Jupiter defensive line, the scattered engagements near the asteroid belt. Satellite network reports 98% of the global population now showing signs of the awakening, Marcus reports, monitoring the quantum entanglement network they established to spread the ancestral memories worldwide. The genetic cascade has reached critical mass. Elena nods, feeling the collective consciousness of humanity flowing through the neural interface. Billions of minds simultaneously reconnecting with their forgotten heritage. The knowledge transfer that had taken her weeks to process now happens in hours for those newly awakened, accelerated by the genetic algorithms encoded 50 millennia ago. The Verax Supreme Commander is hailing us again. Lieutenant Quan announces from the communication station. On screen, Elena orders, straightening as the alien leader's face appears before her. Your resistance is impressive but futile, the Supreme Commander hisses, mercury eyes swirling with rage. You merely delay the inevitable reset of your species. Elena studies her adversary with new understanding, seeing beyond the hatred to the genetic manipulation beneath. You don't have to continue this fight, she says. We've accessed the complete archives. We know what your ancestors did to your species, how they eliminated your capacity for empathy to create perfect warriors. The Verax Commander's expression flickers momentarily with something almost like confusion. Irrelevant. We are superior through deliberate evolution. You call it evolution, Elena counters, but we call it mutilation. Your ancestors chose to sacrifice parts of themselves for tactical advantage, parts that made them people rather than weapons. On a private channel, Marcus signals Elena. The counteragent synthesis is complete. Deployment systems ready. Elena acknowledges with a subtle nod, returning her attention to the Verax Commander. We're not the same people who fought your ancestors 50,000 years ago. We've evolved naturally, developing new strengths while reconnecting with our old knowledge. And we've developed a solution that can help both our species move forward. The Commander's expression hardens. We require no assistance from lesser beings. This communication is terminated. As the screen goes dark, Elena gives the order they've been preparing for since discovering the truth in the archives. Begin deployment of the genetic counteragent. All vessels maintain defensive positions only. Throughout the fleet, specialized emitters activate, releasing clouds of engineered particles designed to penetrate Verax ships' environmental systems. Not a weapon of destruction, but of healing, a counteragent designed to reverse the ancient genetic modifications that stripped the Verax of their capacity for empathy and emotion. Verax vessels are detecting the particle dispersion, Okafor reports. They're attempting to evade. Continue deployment, Elena orders, and open all communication channels. I want them to hear this. She takes a deep breath, feeling both herself and Commander Reyes in this crucial moment. This is Dr. Elena Reyes to all Verax vessels. What you're experiencing is not an attack, but an offer of peace. The particles we've released contain a genetic restoration formula, designed to repair what your ancestors removed from your species, your capacity for empathy, compassion, and emotional connection. On the tactical display, Verax ships begin to slow their attacks, confusion evident in their erratic movements. We could have developed weapons to destroy you. Elena continues. Instead, we chose to remember not just our technology, but our values. The true strength of humanity has never been our weapons or ships. It's our capacity to see beyond conflict, to choose healing over vengeance. The first reports begin coming in from Verax vessels, where the counteragent has taken effect. Confusion, then realization, as suppressed emotional capacities reactivate after 50 millennia of engineered absence. We're receiving requests for ceasefire from 17 Verax ships, Quan announces with disbelief. On the main screen, the face of the Supreme Commander appears again. But different now. The liquid mercury eyes showing something they haven't seen before. Uncertainty, then the first glimmer of comprehension. What have you done to us? The commander asks, voice wavering with unfamiliar emotion. Elena smiles gently. We've given you back what was taken. The choice of what to do with it belongs to you.